It's really a privilege to be here and have an opportunity to talk about what I think has been mentioned already, the vision of the future and where we're going to be in the future. You know, when we talk about vision, sometimes I think folks have a tendency to make it in the very short term, 5 years. But when you really look at vision in a transportation arena, you really have to be looking at 30, 35, and 40 years out. Many of the folks who had the vision of DART when it first began in 1983 are not here now to enjoy that, but they knew that if Dallas in this area was going to continue to grow, that they had to look beyond just the concrete. We in Tarrant County are in the process of hopefully beginning to look beyond just the concrete. I had an opportunity this morning to talk with some folks and to get an idea of what percentage of the Dallas County population or the cities there and that population that goes along with it are in DART, and then compare that over to Tarrant County. It's my understanding that DART has about 90% of the population within Dallas County that participates in DART. In Tarrant County, we're probably somewhere around 40%. Now, a lot of that is because we have 41 different cities in Tarrant County. And Fort Worth, while Fort Worth is the largest, as we have grown, a lot of that growth has occurred outside of the city of Fort Worth. As we look at the growth estimates through the North Texas Council of Governments for the next 30, 35 years, what we see is a pretty good change. We see, first off, this region, especially the four-county region, doubling again in size, or almost doubling. Today, if you look at this, Dallas County is the largest population, followed by Tarrant, followed by Collin. By around 2050, it's upside down. Collin County is estimated to be the largest county in the Metroplex, followed by Tarrant, followed by Dallas. I think if you look at this, what it says is we've got to begin looking at alternatives. And I will tell you that there are a lot of people out there right now who don't want to look past the 3 to the 4 to the 5 year. And their answer to this growth is more concrete. And one of the things that I think, and I applaud for the people in this room, is that you realize that as that population doubles, we can't do that by adding concrete for 2 times a day. And we really have to begin looking at what can we do to ensure that as that growth comes, that we're prepared, or at least have begun preparing for that growth. One of the things that I wish that we did, and I think it goes back again to tearing down silos, even at the federal level, or especially at the federal level, where we now have transportation and transit separate and apart. We've been very fortunate in Tarrant County over the last 5 to 10 years to open up some major areas that were very congested, and we've done that through concrete. That was the DFW connector, which has more than doubled its land mass that we've used to pour concrete. North Tarrant Express is another one. I live about less than a quarter of a mile from that. And then also Chisholm Trail. But as we have taken more and more land for all of those projects, if you look at it from the standpoint right now, we have basically got a little bit of excess capacity, but it will not be long before that capacity will be lost. And we'll be looking once again at how are we going to expand and be prepared to take on that capacity. There are a lot of folks who look at rail and will say it's just not, it'll never be feasible. But what I try to say to folks, and what I continue today to try to say to folks, is as we double in population, we have 3 alternatives. We can either take the footprint that we have now and we can double it and take out that many more homes or businesses. We can take existing arterials now and make them into freeways, which is again going to significantly enlarge the footprint and require us to take homes or shopping centers. Or we can begin to look at how do we integrate transit in with the existing facilities that we have. I wish that as we look at building capacity, within our current transportation structure that we would allocate or that we would reserve on an area for transit. In my lifetime, the vans, the transit, you use vans until they fill up, then you go to buses, and when they fill up, then you go to rail. Now, I will tell you that in certain parts of the Metroplex, I'll be pushing up daisies before I see rail or before somebody below me or after me sees rail. But at least in the interim, we are to be reserving that area, allow cars to travel with those vans or with those buses, and at the point in time that rail comes in, then at that point in time, obviously the cars have got to move over into either new existing toll lanes or moving into some expansion of the free lanes. Truly, I believe it is a build it and they will come. You've heard examples this morning, the Mockingbird Station, the South Lamar Station. You can look at that development along the rail lines and see what it has brought or what it has meant to a particular area. Even if you just look currently at the transportation, the statistics I gave you earlier about the fact that in 30 years, Collin County will be the #1 county in population in this Metroplex. If you look at Collin County, what you see is you have the Dallas North Tollway, you have Sam Rayburn, you have George Bush. All of those have allowed people to be able to live up there and to be able to commute currently to Dallas and to Fort Worth. But I think it's also created a great deal of development so that a lot of folks now don't have to travel as far, and a lot of that development is up in the Frisco, the Collin County type area. I have a friend who's on the Frisco Economic Development. They refer to the $5 billion mile, where basically there's that $5 billion worth of construction that's going on in that particular area right now. I also have an opportunity to serve on the UNT Board of Regents. We're very excited about the 3-mile extension that will go down to the University of North Texas's Dallas campus. We feel like that will have a tremendous impact and positive effect upon that particular campus. In the Tarrant County side, we started off with the TRE, and that has been a very good success. Gary mentioned that we're in the process right now, and Paul, I know again, Paul Ballard is out there, who is our new executive director for the T, but we're looking at completing TEX Rail, which will go from downtown Fort Worth up to the airport. Now, the people who are again, everythingers will tell you, well, there's just no way that that's ever going to be successful and that it's ever going to pay for itself. But one of the things that I think you have to look at is that's one of our legs. We're in the very early stages of bringing rail into Tarrant County, and that's the first leg, as it were, of rail that kind of goes up to that airport, and from there we link into the northern part of the DART system to DCTA, and in some of those areas. The TEX Rail is estimated to be complete in the fourth quarter of 2018. It will cost about $1 billion, just a little less than $1 billion. And when it opens, it'll have 9 stations. Now, remember earlier I told you we have 41 cities in Tarrant County. Currently, we have 3 cities, Fort Worth, Richland Hills, and Blue Mound, which have opted into the T and are paying their half-cent sales tax. There has been an agreement worked out with Grapevine where they pay 3/8 of a cent, and so they're contributing great amount of money just to basically get the rail up to Grapevine, which will then go into the airport. As a result of the TEX Rail, North Richland Hills has worked out an arrangement with the T that will allow them to have 2 stations along that TEX Rail route. I say that again because as Paul has come into this area, what we realize is that we've got to find a way to coax some of the remaining 38 cities to work into some sort of an arrangement with the T to begin to build that revenue. Many of them have obligated that penny of sales tax for other things, whether it be economic development, whether it be crime tax, whatever it may be, and they're going to have to be, we're going to have to work with them in some way, shape, or form until hopefully they can get to the point of being able to come into as a full partner with the T. DART is a penny. The T is a half a penny. Again, we have 3 cities versus 13, and now I'm probably more. And what difference does that make in the budget? As I understand it, DART's annual revenue from the sales tax is around $450 million a year. The T's is around $65 million a year. So I want to again applaud and say to the DART, your vision, you're willing to make some hard decisions and to take the risks in going forward, have now paid off if you look from 99 to 2015 and forward. And I think we're on the verge of beginning to look at that and realize that we can't continue to just build concrete if we're going to continue to grow and be the attractor to population. The other statistic that will help us in that decision is looking at that economic development that has occurred around those stations. Because again, what we have in a lot of instances are naysayers who say, well, this is going to reduce my property value. How many times as elected officials have we heard that whenever you want to do anything into the future or progressive, well, that's going to decrease my property values? Only to find out that if you go 10 years, 15 years down the line, what it has actually done, it has improved their property value and has made the quality of life much better. So you're an example. We appreciate what you have been able to do for us, and hopefully we'll be able to take some of the good examples that you have and be able to use those as we go forward at Tarrant County. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to come and speak today.